Do we see that already? All you have to do is watch 30 minutes a day. Every day is another chance to score up to $10,000 in monthly cash and prizes. So sign up for Sling or watch for free. You can win either way. Sling lets you do that. Go to the ends of the earth. Reach for the...
Anyway, it's May 29th, 2024. It's May 29th, 2024. It's May 29th, 2024, once again. Okay, so, I'm gonna have to place this in the washing machine. I'm gonna have to place these in the washing machine right away. Excuse me, guys.
Has named Gary Canino as its new prime minister. He was previously UNICEF's regional director for Latin America and the Caribbean, and will be tasked with leading the nation until elections can be held. The move comes as gangs continue to terrorize the capital of Port-au-Prince. The UN-backed security mission is set to start operations in Haiti in the hopes of ending the violence and restoring political stability. Millions of South Africans are voting today in what's being called the most important election in 30 years. At stake is the dominance of the African National Congress Party, which could lose its majority for the first time since leading South Africa out of apartheid in 1994. The party has faced a rise in disappointment in recent years. About half of South Africa's 62 million residents are estimated to be living in poverty. And back here in the U.S., Arizona's Secretary of State is warning that threats against election officials are acts of domestic terrorism. The growing concerns have forced officials to hold active shooter drills. And last night on the Daily Report with John Dickerson, CBS News election law contributor David Becker spoke about how safe elections are.
So right now, American citizens should be very, very confident in their elections. But unfortunately, as you noted, there are people spreading lies about those elections, intending to seed the ground for perhaps claiming an election was stolen after they lost.
CBS Mornings continues next, so let's get you back to Times Square with Tony, Nate, and Michelle.
Welcome back to CBS Mornings. This morning, in a newly filed lawsuit, 3 black men who were passengers suing American Airlines allege that company employees appeared to remove all the black male passengers from a flight over a complaint about a passenger with body odor. First on CBS Mornings, the men are telling their story to our Chris Van Cleve.
We're the only ones getting taken off the program.
This video at the center of a newly filed lawsuit against American Airlines appears to show a number of black men after they've been removed from a flight allegedly due to a complaint about offensive body odor. The lawsuit claims as Flight 832 to New York was finishing boarding in January. American employees.
So yeah, hold on. I'm gonna have to put all the detergent in there. Hold on. I guess I'm just gonna have to put this.
Flight 832 was in action. They taken it earlier flight from Los Angeles without issue.
Okay, so I did demonstrate to you guys that it's May the 29th, 2024. And, I'm going to write a work paper today. I'm going to author a work paper today as usual. And this particular work paper, I'm going to publish it on my script.com account, a profile. I'm also going to have it stored and posted, and stored and documented and published on my, posted on my Facebook account, Twitter account, and my Instagram account in JPG file form, image forms, okay? And also, I'm going to have it published on my blog site, ShawnDexterJohn.wordpress.com. So yeah, I'm going to author a work paper today. And is this one, I'm going to take a break, a day or two break from writing on the Constitution of the United States. I got all the way up to the 11th Amendment. I'm going to skip a few and get to some of the amendments of the Constitution of the United States are more so procedural, having to do with Congress and the procedures of Congress, and having to do with the procedures or certain how do you say that? Certain mandates within Congress and I guess other, essentially Congress and the rest of the federal government in extent or encompassing the Congress of the United States. So once again, I'm gonna take. Hold on, let the car. So once again, I'm gonna take a day or two break from our writing on the Constitution of the United States. I got all the way up to the 11th Amendment. So what I published yesterday had to do with what I published yesterday was the legal and political tenets of the 11th Amendment of the United States Constitution, or the Constitution of the United States, essentially. And I published that yesterday. You can even see this on my LinkedIn account also. I did publish legal and political tenets on the first 10 amendments also, and everything is published on my blog site, my blog itself. And so yeah, I'm gonna skip a few amendments after today and possibly tomorrow, and continue writing on the Constitution of the United States. So essentially, I'm going to skip those having to do with procedures of Congress, the amendments having to do with procedures of Congress and or the federal government in general. When it gets to the amendments beyond the first 10, 11, it has to deal with, mostly has to do with procedures, other than a few amendments. So also I'm going to touch bases on the 13th and the 14th and the 15th Amendment. I'm pretty sure of it. I'm certainly going to write on the 13th and 15th Amendments of the Constitution of the United States. I'm going to author and publish legal and political tenets of those. Naturally, that has to do with political, social, and economic justice and freedoms for the most part, and protections. And I'm also going to write on the 19th. Well, okay, we'll see. So I'm going to write a few more papers, work papers, on amendments of the Constitution of the United States. A few more, at most a handful. Less than a handful to a handful, no more than that. Okay, but I'm going to take a day or two break from that. So today I'm going to write a work paper, and it's also going to be, this particular paper is going to be on. I almost forgot what I was going to write on, but it's certainly not going to be in the Constitution of the United States. Let me try to think. Okay, well, I'm going to have to turn off this video recording and right away. I'm just going to look into my phone and see the notes that I have. I wrote the notes on what I was going to write on today. I was going to skip. I'm not going to skip anything, but essentially, I'm going to take a day or two break from writing on the Constitution of the United States. And I said, well, today I'm going to focus on this particular issue to show that I'm not done, certainly far from done in writing on the directive of integration, the order of integration. That's my focus, naturally, but I want you guys to know that I am an expert when it comes to American jurisprudence, constitutional law, when it comes to the Constitution of the United States, something clearly that I wrote. The Constitution of the United States of America. I did write it as Thomas Jefferson, and I kept that a secret. I did write the Declaration of Independence. Everyone knows that. I did have, as Du Bois, I did have Fred Sanford, Fred Sanford, Red Fox. I did have him reveal that I wrote the Constitution of the United States on one of his on his show in one of his episodes. Everyone was saying, well, James Madison wrote the Constitution of the United States. I was that humble as Thomas Jefferson, and I've been that humble ever since. I've allowed folks to believe that James Madison was the architect of the Constitution of the United States, and that's just not true. I wrote it, but I was okay with having written the Declaration of the United States and its independence, the Declaration of Independence. Yeah, I was okay with that. I was okay with being the second president of the United States, the third president of the United States of America. And because I had reserved for me becoming the first president of the world, I could see centuries into the future, and I saw that as Shawn, Dexter, John, with the identity Khaled son, the Adad son, I would be first world president. I saw that I would be Abraham Lincoln before then. And I said that was a humble sacrifice, I wrote all of the constitutions of the 13 colonies back then, which became the original 13 states of the United States. I wrote each and every one of the constitutions, and clearly, I've gone down. I knew that I would go down as the greatest, not go down, but I would be noted as the greatest president of the United States of America, as Abraham Lincoln, aka Charles Darwin. My hobby was science, and my alias was Charles Darwin, and I did write on evolution. I did reveal a scientific theory proven as factual to the world, on the evolution of the species, of not just mankind, but life in general. The species of mankind and life in general. Evolution, the theory of natural evolution. Okay? I wrote that on my own. I did all of that on my own. They said, well, what trip did I make? As Abraham Lincoln, I did take trips to, not to the Galapagos. I made that up. But I knew for a fact that that's how things are on Galapagos, the islands there. But I did take trips throughout Nova Scotia and the islands as a kid and as a young man. Back as Abraham Lincoln, I did take trips to different islands, and I also did so when it came to the lakes, the Great Lakes in the Midwest. And from island to island, spot to spot, and I could see my curiosity was built, and I saw the differences in animals of the same species, birds, and so forth. And it sparked my thoughts, and I figured everything out. And I did a lot of work, I wrote all of that, and it made perfect sense to me at the time, and it makes perfect sense to mankind at this present moment and into the future. Because everything I wrote on the science of evolution itself is honestly the truth. Even though there's magic that goes on within or between, or within that process, or between elements of that process, divine magic, for the most part, what I've presented as evolution, the evolution of life itself, especially the human species, is completely competent and correct, for the most part. We provide white lies here and there, but the white lies allude to a lot that has to do with the rest of the universe, so it's not really a lie. But I could not reveal that particularity in my writings. But anyway, I knew that I would be noted as the greatest president of the United States, and I would become world president as Khaled son, the Adad son. So I said yes to George Washington, who was my stepfather, being noted and being elected by Congress as the first president of the United States, and I allowed John Adams to become the second president of the United States, and I was the third president of the United States, and I was both president. I was a president of the United States, and I also was my alias is Thomas Jefferson. Naturally, was Alexander Hamilton. I created the Treasury. I was Secretary of State and Secretary of the Treasury at the same time. Both at the same time. I run CIA and INTERPOL both at the same time. Okay, so that's what I wanted you guys to know, and that's one of the things that I wanted you guys to know. But anyway. So yeah. what I wrote in the legal article, in the New Society's Concepts and Political Perceptions of an Eastern Caribbean Model of Commonality, the 204 pages, what you guys can see on my website and script.com and my LinkedIn account and so forth. This is not based on any sort of primitive concept or primitive theory at all. It's based on American jurisprudence of some sort of Caribbean flair or value in addressing the situation, the special project of the Eastern Caribbean states, in addressing also the Caribbean community, which is going to be a special project of the American government and the Caribbean governments. And it also reflected the order of integration that applies to the whole world. Okay? There's nothing primitive about the New Societies, the legal article itself. I'm not speaking of the book sketch which was published with iUniverse in 2012, the 760 pages. It was incomplete, it was unedited, and it certainly was deceptive for operation purposes. Okay, but it alluded to me being clearly a genius and clearly being someone working for the federal government of the United States, specifically the CIA, who wanted to hide something or was just saying, back off, I don't care anymore. You guys can go on and not think of me as a threat. Either way, it's clearly written by me, a genius, clearly just joking around, at the same time being completely secretly serious about hiding what was then the intent of authoring and publishing the legal article version, the real version of it, and then revealing myself as completely competent in being a genius comprehensible by everyone as a genius without any sort of doubt allowed. Okay, so that's what I did, and I did travel all throughout the world under various aliases to do my job, to speak with all of the governments of all of the governments of the United Nations General Assembly for the most part, damn near. I travel all over the world, or every region and sub-region of the world, secretly, almost for the most part. Okay, to get them on board with the integration project, to get them on board with staging the last World War instead of actually having to go through a real World War. So I've done a lot of work in rescuing angels in the way that I've explained and detailed. Okay, there's no gap in the story. There's no gap in the narrative that I've provided to you guys about the journey I've been on ever since my college days. Okay, so I want you guys to know this. All right, what I said earlier is that what I wrote within the book sketch published with iUniverse, the New Societies, the incomplete and unedited version itself was published with iUniverse. It was deceptive, and it allowed me to travel all over the world without being detected or tracked down by any agent of the United States government for the most part. And I did help rescue governments all throughout the world. I did introduce them to the inevitability and the project of the Central Intelligence Agency order of integration. That itself, that we are going to create a world government, is that I'm going to be the first world president in 2044, and that we were always going to stage the last World War before it actually became a real World War, unanticipated and unstaged. Okay, so I did save a lot of angels, meaning intelligent and threatened, harmed women and threatened women who just happened to be of my affiliation all throughout the world. And I rescued them by means of explained in detail consistently. And most are here in the United States, and most are from the United States of America, but I did travel the world to find those who were not in the United States of America, to bring them here eventually with my children. Okay, so that is true. I'm not lying about that at all. So yeah, guys, the work paper that I'm going to publish today, the work paper that I'm going to author and publish today, it's the legal and political tenets on the abolition of nuclear warfare, global act. Okay, so I'm going to write and publish today the legal and political tenets of the pending abolition of nuclear warfare global act. Okay, it might be a global treaty, it might be stated as global treaty in its final form, meaning the treaty itself, the act itself. But essentially, that's what I'm going to write on today. Okay, and I'm going to have it published today. It might not show up on LinkedIn today, but it's going to show up everywhere else that I've noted. Okay, guys.